All right, we're going to start committee meetings. Let's start with judiciary.
It is 6:17, and we will go ahead and get judiciary to begin. Our first ordinance, number 24 on this evening's agenda, an ordinance authorizing the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of Canton, Ohio, and declaring the same to be an emergency. Who would like to speak on this evening? Mr. Mayor?
Sorry about that. Trying to get organized here a little bit.
No, take your time.
All right. So we're talking about the building code fees, correct? All right. So basically, which one are we? Yeah, I got it. Okay. So basically, Mr. Chairman, members of council, after we had, our fees for our building department really don't reflect, what is going on. And if we're truly talking about improving our neighborhoods, the fees for the building department, and in which I say I'm content with the commercial fees. I'm content with the commercial fees that we have, but the residential fees, and I'll give you an example, to put a deck, if somebody wanted to put a deck on their house, it would cost them almost $1,200 in fees. And this is, if we're truly going to try to improve our neighborhoods and try to make it affordable, and affordability is a key component today with a lot of things, that basically we are chopping everything pertaining to residential in half. So that means everything that you could, a resident or you or anybody that lives in the city could possibly do to their house, putting new windows, putting a new furnace, if they want to put solar panels on their roof, if they wanted to add on to their house, or if somebody wanted to build a new house in the city of Canton. So when I talk about, just to give you one example, the fees for building the deck were almost $1,200, and we're chopping that to $484. And when they come down, instead of them having to come down and, have to pay for this permit and pay for that permit, if somebody would put a deck on their house, they would need 3 inspections. And so they would need a footer, final inspection and all that stuff. When they come down and pay that $484, it's going to include everything. So they pay it one time, and they try to streamline things with the city. There is one more component of that. That component would be that we're requiring general contractors to register their subcontractors within the city. So one example for me would be Oliveri Construction is working in there. Oliveri is a great contractor. Yep, absolutely. They do a lot of work. They're working on the library. They're working on the Palace Theater. And they were just finishing up the 2 new schools for Canton City. Oliveri is a general contractor. When they come down, the general contractor is the only one that's required to pull the permit fees. But we could have 40 different contractors working inside that school, that one's putting the whiteboards up, one's, installing the bathrooms, one's doing the flooring, heating and cooling. How do we know that every one of those contractors and those employees are paying city tax while they're working on that project, and we don't? Because the only requirement right now is that the general contractor pulls the permits. We're not asking subcontractors to pull permits, but that general contractor is going to be required to, provide a list of all their subcontractors. So at least our income tax department is fully aware of who's working on that project. But the meat of this right now is everything pertaining to residential that anybody could do to their house is basically getting reduced by 50 to 60%. So I'd be more than happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Do we have any questions or concerns in relation to this? Anyone? Seeing that we do not, we'll go ahead and sign this out. We'll go ahead.
Which one was that? Was that 24?
20.
24.
Okay, all this is what goes on 24. It's basically housekeeping. We're just cleaning up some of the ordinances and moving things. Nothing's really changing. General offenses and those. Is that what we're discussing?
Yeah, we're on
We're on. Oh, we're on. It's coming. I'm sorry. I apologize. What number are we on? 24. 24, just 24. Correct. 24 is simply a house that we're cleaning up for ordinances and adding those issues.
Which
I believe what the mayor spoke about is the third reading, so that's what this is on the 24th. Or the, number 20, number 24 is housekeeping matters, just to clean up the order.
All right, with that being stated, we'll open it up. Does anyone else have any questions or concerns with this information? Okay. Member Sacco?
When I was looking through that, it said about dogs and stuff. There was updates. What was that all about?
Basically, all we're doing is renumbering these, those incidents, and we're renumbering.
Okay.
It's just total housekeeping, clean up, so it reads better and it's easy to understand.
Okay.
Nothing's changed other than numbers.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or concerns? All right, we'll go ahead and sign this out. Next is ordinance 25. A resolution authorizing the law director to distribute fee of charge to public officials and public institutions copies of the May 2026 supplement to the Canton Codified Ordinances to a fixed price for the sale of same and declaring the same to be an emergency. Law director. All right, thank you, Law Director. Any questions or concerns? Seeing that there are none, we'll go ahead and sign this out. It is 6:25, and that concludes judiciary.
Okay, let's do Economic Development Committee.
No longer needed for municipal purpose to Canton City Incorporated.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of council. This is an ordinance that is basically a parcel consolidation. This is for what's known as the Ford property on Georgetown Road. This parcel is basically a sliver that was there to allow for an access road that I don't believe was ever built. In order for the parcel to be kind of marketable for development, this is just making sure that all of the pieces of the property are part of one larger parcel to negotiate with when it comes time for development. It's basically just reducing the number of upfront items that a developer would have to deal with and taking control of it to do something with it.
So this will all be one? This will all be one big parcel now, is that what you're telling us?
That's correct, but we'll transfer it through the CCIC.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. It's 6:27.
Okay, let's do Public Property Capital Improvement Committee. Good with finance. You want to do finance? Okay. All right, we'll call finance order.
Yeah. It's 6:27. We'll call finance to order. This is number 27. All right, this is an ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to enter into a change order number 1 with Winger Excavating Inc. in an amount not to exceed $145,396.26 for the Harder Heights area water main replacement and roadway improvement project phase 1, authorizing the auditor to pay all moral obligations related to this change order, amending appropriation orders number 51, 2026, declaring the same to be emergency. Service Director.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, as is the case for all of our construction projects, they're typically bid at a time and materials basis. This is the final change order in order to close this out. The $145,000 represents what is in part a reduction in the water side of things of $77,000, but on the capital and sewer portion, there is an increase of $222,000. Essentially, it's just whenever there's additional work that needs done from this line item or less work from this line item, they calculate and add it up. Of the increased portion for sewer and capital, it's a $198,000 increase for capital. So those would be things like the brick roads, base repair, those types of things, and increase of $24,000 for sanitary sewer. I would point out, because I know the councilman will remind me if I do not, that there are a couple of road to brick transition points that we will be constructing next year that were not included with this project. This will close out this portion of the work.
Anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, we'll conclude finance at 6:29.
Okay, let's do environmental public utilities.
Environmental Public Utilities, ordinance number 26, time is 6:29. An ordinance authorizing the mayor, director of public service, or their designee to establish the fair market value of real property, enter into agreements for the purchase and acquisition of these parcels, enter into agreements for the purchase or donation of city-owned property for permanent road right-of-way, utility easements, and or temporary construction easements for the Navarre Road Southwest Trunk Sewer GP 1491 project. Make ministerial changes to correct property owner names, parcel numbers, and other numerical, descriptive, or typographical errors should they occur, declaring the intent to appropriate the parcels if a negotiated settlement cannot be reached, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, this is the right-of-way ordinance for the Navarre Road Sanitary Sewer Project. This is a $3.2 million sewer project that was approved earlier this year as a part of the sewer capital plan. Just as a reference point, this is runs from along Navarre from the north, from Prospect to about Marion, and then along Prospect just to the railroad and Navarre, a small portion there. When you look at this, it's 3 permanent sanitary sewer easements, 6 temporary easements, and a railroad crossing agreement. We don't anticipate necessarily any issues with this, but as is the case when you go through the right-of-way process, you have to go forward with this process in case something does not go smoothly regarding this, but it's all underground work in this case.
Do we know when this is going to start and how long it'll take?
The goal is still, I believe, to get this out to bid this year. Then I believe it would take place during essentially next year's construction cycle. I believe I can confirm for you, I think it would be done by next winter, but it's all depending upon getting this stuff cleaned up and getting it out to bid.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, we will sign that out at 6:33, I guess.
Okay, we'll do personnel committee.
6:33, this is Personnel Committee. This here is the confirming the mayor's reappointment of Ms. Myra Watkins to the Stardust Board commencing 8/10/26 to 7/31/29.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, Mr. Chairman, members of council, Myra Watkins has served for some time on the SARTA board, and I had called her, and I would like to see her continue to serve on that board. So her appointment is up, and asking for council's reappointment, and her term would be from August 10th, her term would expire on 7/31/2029 from now. So Myra's done a good job on that board, and I'm just asking for council's approval.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, we'll sign that out at 6:34.
Okay, we'll go over the agenda. Any questions on third readings? Question on second readings? We just heard those. Got a series of votes on first readings tonight. We're going to be voting on 20, 21, and 22. So we'll do committee on the floor with those. Any questions on the other first readings or communications? We have an informal resolution tonight. Member Smuckler will be giving the invocation. So with that, I'll turn it over to the law director for a motion for executive session.
I would do a motion for executive session to discuss pending litigation. I would ask that members of council, auditor, treasurer, members of the law department, mayor, staff.
So moved.
Second.
Muriel,
Aye.
Babcock,
Aye.
Smuckler, Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough, Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks, Sacco, Morris. You are now in executive session.
Jill, good? Okay, I'm going to make well, we got enough. I'm going to make a motion that we come out of executive session.
Second.
Muriel,
Aye.
Babcock, Smuckler, Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough, Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks,
Aye.
Sacco. You are now out of executive session.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are now calling the Canton City Council to order. If anybody would please turn their cell phones off to vibrate. Will the quorum be present? The chair calls this meeting Canton City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Muriel,
Here.
Babcock,
Here.
Smuckler,
Here.
Cole,
Here.
Maley,
Here.
Kimbrough,
Here.
Scaglione,
Here.
Smith, Fisher,
Here.
Cooks,
Here.
Sacco, Morris. 11 present, 1 absent, Mr. President.
Clerk, Mayor Muriel.
Mr. President, I move we excuse Member Morris from tonight's meeting.
Second. Been moved and seconded to excuse Member Morris. Is there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Muriel,
Aye.
Babcock,
Aye.
Smuckler, Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough, Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher,
Aye.
Cooks,
Aye.
Sacco, Morris. 11 yeas, Mr. President.
Motion carries. Remember, Morris is excused from this evening's meeting. Tonight's invocation will be given by Council Member at Large Nicole Smuckler. If you will please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance after.
Dear God, we come to you in many different forms, many different views, and many different thoughts. Please listen to our concerns over thoughts and prayers. Please lead us down the right path to perform what is best for our community, what is best for our country, and what is best for the world we live in. Amen.
We're now under agenda corrections and changes. Leader Marion.
Mr. President, I move we suspend Rule 22A to add second readings, ordinances 23 through 27 to this evening's agenda.
Second. Been moved and seconded to suspend Rule 22A for second readings of ordinances 23 through 27 to this evening's agenda. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Merrill,
Aye.
Babcock, Smucker, Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough, Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks, Sacco. 11 yeas, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The motion carries and ordinances 23 through 27 are now a legal part of your agenda. We're now under public hearings. We have no public hearings for this evening. We're now under old business. Leader Mario, do we have any old business for this evening?
I don't believe so.
We are now under public speaks. We do have 5 speakers for this evening. Our first speaker's name is Kai Welch. She's here to speak about 20 million.
The first thing I would like to ask the council is to please speak into your microphones because I am hearing impaired and cannot hear most of you. My name is Kai Welch. I live at 120 Cleveland Avenue Southwest, and I'm speaking on item 8.
Please start the clock.
The $20 million galvanized required replacement project. Mayor, what are they replacing these galvanized pipes with?
You need to address the chair, ma'am. Not individual members in the horseshoe. You need to just address the chair. The mayor's not going to respond to that. You need to address the chair.
That part. Spaz News Entertainment. Follow, like, and subscribe.
Next speaker is Kimberly Bell. Please come to the podium.
Kimberly Bell, 1733 Morse Avenue. What I witnessed today, I'm speaking on justice. Agenda number 17. What do we need? What are you asking for, Andrea Perry? A grant for what? Justice? We didn't witness that today. How can a colored person ever have a chance, Massa?
Madam Bell, can I ask you what this has to do with number?
No. It's justice.
Well,
Not what you're reading. No, I'm not talking about that.
no, public speaks are for agenda items. What does this?
Number
have
7
to do?
says justice. A grant you want for justice. Now you.
7. I apologize.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. And I'm talking to you, President, not the committee. You don't want us to talk to them. How can a colored person ever have a chance, Massa? Without using the good old slave language. How can black people ever look at you and not feel that you're all the same, no matter what you try to convince us of? And whichever one of you is thinking or saying under your breath, yes, I'm off key with the number on the agenda I'm speaking of, you too. The hate and anger for you people is killing black people as well. The hate and anger we have for you is killing us as black people as well. You all come in here crying about a data center, and city council members, no offense, city council members and you, Mayor, will respond. We black people come in here to plead 7 times for air to breathe and to seek justice for killing our family members. You stay silent. You have the laws on your side. You have the riches. You have the best medical treatments. You have the best private schools and anything else your hearts desire. All we as black people ever ask for is the freedom to breathe and to live without any more harm from you people. Is that the grant, the justice grant you asking for, Andrea Perry and council member? It says a grant for $99,769. Should have played 769. And you wanted a grant for justice. When you get the grant, how are you going to use it for justice? Explain that, please. Okay, we're getting a grant for justice, finally. None of you hearing today. One of you should have showed up. Lou, you should have been there. You're the president. You said speak to you. You should have been there. You didn't have to speak to the family or anybody. Your appearance would have said, spoke volumes. And I'm your friend. And I text you to come. It would have showed so much for this whole chamber had you been there. It spoke volumes. Just you showing up, Lou, or any one of you. My God, it's only our skin color. What could he have done because of his skin color? That was his only weapon.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Next speaker is Sherry French. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Good evening. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not really good at this, and I really don't like being here, but somebody's got to say something. For 250 years, we have fought against dictatorship and communism, and now it's in our backyards, our neighbors' backyards, and it's playing out right here in this room. Privacy rights and constitutional rights are being stripped away by people we voted in, and our tax dollars pay their salaries, which are way too high. So they can pompously sit up there smirking at us and stripping our rights away. Remember this when they want you to vote for them again. They deserve to be sued by every citizen that have screwed over their poorly and unresearched decisions that will affect our lives, not theirs. Secret meetings, NDAs, and ignoring facts. We do not approve of your bullied into parroting eyes as you go down the line. We witnessed the mayor and I use the term lightly, bullying with his paid lawyer beside him, and to bully the ones who had the guts to say no into submission, with a couple of exceptions, and I and others could see the anger in his eyes and his facial expressions because he did not immediately comply like good little parrots. You're ramming stuff down our throats that we do not want, and this meeting tonight here is again proof of that.
Mrs. French, can I ask you what your comments are related to
They're
agenda item
related
18?
to, the Second Amendment and to data centers. You didn't do any fact finding, no research at all, but blindly jumped
It's
in.
got-
Supposed to be, you just saw non-existent short-term signs.
Mrs. French, I don't need
Put
to,
lives in danger, not.
Mrs. French.
Every one of you need to.
Order,
go
please.
to the
Mrs. French.
Center.
This has nothing to do with agenda number 18.
Also, you said.
It has nothing to do with agenda number 18.
Stomp on our flag.
Do you have anything to discuss about agenda number 18? If not, please sit down.
Okay.
No, she doesn't. One more interruption like that, I'm going to rule you in violating a public meeting. Next speaker is Roger Gates.
My name's Roger Gates. I'm from here. I live here, and I've always been here. Brothers and sisters, we're going to church tonight. We're going to talk about this water line thing, okay? There's approximately 29,302 households in the city of Canton, Ohio, at 2.3.1 people per household, okay? Out of 29,000 households, I'm sure that not all of them need a water line put in. Mine don't. I don't understand how come two men have control of $10 to $20 million, okay? Maybe what them people come in here and said, you guys take it as the truth. It's not the truth. It don't cost $6,000 to have a water line because I thought I had galvanized and I priced it with a buddy of mine which it does water lines here in town. Good chunk of it is the permit for it. So why don't the city take away from the permitting and then you ain't got to worry about borrowing additional money to make the $10,000, $20,000. Which brings me to the point of the water meter thing, which it should be up here pretty soon, of the $10.7 million that you guys borrowed for that and has been being paid back at $1.70 per month per customer. Okay? Which brings me to the rainwater. The rainwater runoff, I posted it on Facebook and I posted it, and Mr. Geovasis, thank you for ignoring my post, by the way. Storm drains, plug. You guys are making $100,000 per month, and I don't see any improvement in my storm drains being cleaned. All that I see is it getting worse. The only neighborhoods that are taken care of, Harder Heights, Market Avenue area. I'm poor. You guys are separating us. I work hard every day. I try to improve my life every day. You guys are making it next to impossible by making all these fees on us. And then you wonder why the elderly community is struggling in this town? Not only that, our people are dropping because we can't afford the households. That's how come our homeless population is going up and you guys won't listen. You guys think you have the answers? After what I've seen this past weekend and the way that your people behaved, dude, out of control. Out of control. I have had enough. I'm going to start looking. I'm going to make it my mission, okay? I'm going to start digging. I'm going to start making FOIA's requests. And I'm going to start taking a look at the finances to find out exactly where everything's going. Because I want my palmage just as well as anybody else that's making $6,000 for putting a water line in. Otherwise, my buddy's going to do it and I'm going to buy him a backhoe as a surplus on the end deal of it because you guys can, because that's what happens when it's an emergency, because that can't be questioned. We already know. We the people.
Next speaker is Daniel Gates, 611 Smith Avenue.
It's already out there. It's public. It'll be public again, too. My name is Daniel Gates, 611 Smith Avenue, Northwest, United States Constitutional Republic. Point of order, Mr. President. Tonight's agenda is not legislation. It's a confession. 24 items carry the word emergency. 24. Let me read the law to this body since you have apparently forgotten it. Ohio Revised Code Section 731.17 requires every ordinance to be read on these separate days, unless this body dispenses with that rule by a 3/4 vote of all members elected, recorded by yeas and nays in the journal, not a rubber stamp. A recorded 3/4 vote on the record for every measure you intend to rush. So tell me, what specific finding did this council make justifying immediate effect for 20 million water line replacement plan months in advance? What finding justifies a 6.8 million HVAC project, a multi-year professional service contract, setting a new employee salary? Emergency typed at the bottom of a line is not finding it. A finding. It's a label. You propose to suspend Rule 22A to push 5 ordinances through second reading in one night. Council's own rules require that a suspension motion identify the specific rule, be voted separately, and be entered into the journal. Where is that motion? I hope you'll have it. Where is that vote? I hope you'll have it. You do not get to decide the rules. Do not apply to you by simply not mentioning them. Look at your own agenda. Public speaks blank. No procedure listed, no access described, just a heading left on the page to suggest participation still exists. Your committees meet at 6:15, and this session the session convenes at 7. That is 45 minutes for committees to vet millions of dollars in spending across water infrastructure, HVAC contracts, personnel, appropriations. That's not deliberation. That is a theater. And I will not accept the claim that these emergencies are self-evident when a member of the very body has already questioned their legitimacy in public. When council's own members doubt the emergency label, the body loses benefit of the doubt. We the people are demanding the following on record. 1, follow for every item designated emergency, state the specific fact establishing why immediate effect is required and hold a recorded vote reflecting that finding. Let the record show who is willing to call a bank depository resolution an emergency. 2, do not suspend Rule 22A for items 23 through 27 without a separate recorded 3/4 voting identifying the rule and the items affected. Absent that vote, those items proceed through ordinary readings at the end, at the next regular meeting. 3, restore public speech to a defined, published procedure consistent with the rules this council is required to post. 4, proceed. Produce committee findings of recommendations supporting these measures before any final vote is taken. You ask public to trust the process that withholds the reasons, suppress deliberation, and leaves the participation rule on the page. That is
point of order, Mr. President. This gentleman is interrupting proceedings of an official meeting. Mr. President. Mr. President.
Mr. Marion.
So I wanted to address 2 things that we've heard tonight in public speaks. First is pertaining to the suspension of Rule 22A. It is something that I do at every single meeting. We did it about, 9 minutes prior to public speaks. It is something that is a standard thing. We all vote. So I'm not sure where the confusion on when that rule gets suspended and if we vote. Everyone just heard it. Second thing was the statement about why 2 people get to control the granting of $20 million of contracts. I'd like to get a little more explanation, but I can answer that by saying That's not a decision of this body. That's a decision of the Ohio Revised Code. That statutory authority rests and is outlined by the state, not by this body. The people who do that are literally the only people who can legally do that. So if either the service director or the mayor would like to maybe give just a brief explanation, because I'm at a loss as to why us doing things based on Ohio Revised Code is somehow a controversy now.
Mr. President, I want to let the service director chime in regarding the certain of the galvanized lines, but I want to be very clear. When I was council president for 6.5 years, public speech is not a debate format. It is not. And those are the rules of council, so I just want to be very clear about that. But I will let the service director chime in regarding the galvanized lines.
Mr. President, Leader Mariel's question about, I guess, the city's procurement and contracting processes. Essentially, the way it works is under the Ohio Revised Code, if a project or an item falls under the Director of Public Service, it is either the mayor or the Director of Public Service who signs the contract. If it falls under one of the safety departments, it's the mayor or the Director of Public Safety. Just to be clear, before we can spend one dime of money, there is a very substantial multi-step process that must go through. For example, with the galvanized line project, in terms of the procurement process, it's well over the bid threshold. So you'll have a development of specifications. It's posted on our website for multiple weeks. It's advertised in the Canton repository, advertised on our website. We have a public bid opening that a auditor's member staff must attend. They actually sit next to staff from our purchasing department and watch and record the bid opening. From there, it goes through a multi-departmental review before we can do an award of the project. For example, the treasurer's office has to review the awarded bidder and determine that they are compliant with all the rules and regulations of the city of Canton up on their income taxes, all of those sorts of things. Once it goes through this multi-departmental review, then the department overseeing the project makes a recommendation for award to the Board of Control. So under the ORC, council appropriates money, they approve us to do these contracting processes, and then the body that actually awards the contract and determines who wins is the Board of Control, which consists of the mayor, director of public safety, and the director of public service. So every week there is a meeting where we actually go and we award these processes that go through a very public process. Once we go through that, a contractual document that is drafted and reviewed by the law department goes back and forth between the contractor and the winning bidder, and contains all the rules and regulations that we must adhere to. And then in terms of approving the money through the process that council appropriates, it goes through about 3 or 4 more steps and different departments and different levels within the city before it is approved ultimately by the city auditor, who takes all of this process, all of these rules and regulations, and makes sure we have followed everything. In the case of the galvanized line project, this one is unique in that it is actually a federal mandate which lines we replace and what we do. And they're the ones who have determined the galvanized line project. It's a U.S. EPA regulation, and the money for it, whatever the bid ends up being, somewhere between $18 and $20 million, it's actually going to be paid for by a loan that, if we can get it in fast enough, could be eligible for up to 50% forgiveness. So we could get half of it paid for by Ohio EPA. So in addition to all of the rules and regs that I very quickly kind of summarize here, you're going to have the scrutiny of the federal U.S. EPA, making sure that we are doing everything correctly, and the Ohio EPA, who will go through their own review before they release the funds for the project. So I think, Leader Mayor, does that answer your question?
It does, yes. And just to be clear, the Board of Control, who is doing this, that is created not by the city of Canton. That is created by the state of Ohio. We cannot do a different process. And if there is concern over this project, which there should be concern over this project, the concern should lie in the fact that the EPA is issuing an unfunded mandate, making us replace $20 million of galvanized line, giving us no funding from the federal government to do it. And it's a project that, quite frankly, there's a lot better things that we could spend this money on our water in our water department, but when they say we have to do it, we have to do it. So the real anger should be directed towards the EPA for handing down unfunded mandates, not the city of Canton following the only legal way that we can do this. So I wanted to clear that up, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader Mary. There's no further speakers for this evening. We have an informal resolution. We have one for this evening. Leader Mary.
Mr. President, I move we...
Excuse me, I have to read it. Confirming the mayor's reappointment of Ms. Myra Watkins to the SARTA board commencing August 10th, 2026 to July 31st, 2029.
Leader Mary.
Mr. President, I move we adopt informal resolution number 1.
Second. Been moved and seconded to adopt informal resolution number 1. Are there any remarks? Hearing none by voice vote.
President, excuse me. You have a remark. Myra Watkins, known Myra Watkins for 20 or 30 years. She's a former educator, principal, a pillar in the community. She's a resident of Ward 6 and a very good candidate that the mayor wants to continue in that position. And I highly recommend her also.
And just to add to that, Mr. President, Myra's done a very, very good job on that board, and I'm very grateful that she's willing to continue to serve upon you, council's approval.
Any other comment? My voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Informal resolution number 1 is adopted. We are now under communications. Let the journal show that all communications are received as read. We are now under ordinances and formal resolutions for the first reading. Madam Clerk, would you begin with ordinance number 16?
An ordinance authorizing the Canton Municipal Court to enter into a preventative maintenance and support agreement and extended warranty with Justice Audio Visual Systems in an amount not to exceed $30,709. Authorizing the auditor to pay all moral obligations related to said agreement, retroactively authorizing all actions taken in relation to its completion, and declaring the same to be an emergency. Refer to Finance. Number 17, an ordinance amending appropriation ordinance number 51, 2026, and declaring the same to be an emergency. Refer to Finance. Number 18, an ordinance amending appropriation ordinance number 51, 2026, and declaring the same to be an emergency. Refer to Finance. Number 19, an ordinance vacating a portion of 17th Street Northwest between Harrison Avenue Northwest and Clarendon Avenue Northwest, and declaring the same to be an emergency. Refer to Public Safety and Thoroughfares. Number 20, an ordinance authorizing the settlement of City of Canton versus Gregory Properties, LLC, and declaring the same to be an emergency. Refer to Finance. Number 21, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to enter into an annexation agreement with the Board of Trustees, Canton Township, Stark County, Ohio. Enter into any additional agreements or agreement amendments necessary to facilitate the foregoing annexation agreement. Enter into a roadway maintenance agreement amendment, terminates all previous community economic development agreements, mutual economic development agreements, etc. The city had previously entered into with Canton Township and declaring the same to be an emergency. Refer to annexation. Number 22, an ordinance authorizing a starting annual salary of $115,000 for Todd Shreve for the position of Assistant Superintendent of the Collection Systems Department. Granting Mr. Shreve 3 weeks of vacation upon hire and the transition of 1,200 sick leave hours from his previous position and declaring the same to be an emergency. Refer to Personnel. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, the Chair will declare an in-house recess for the Finance, Annexation, and Personnel Committees. To me, regards the ordinances 20, 21, and 22 on your agenda this evening. We are now in recess.
We will call Finance Order 732. This is number 20 on your agenda. This is an ordinance authorizing settlement of the City of Canton versus Gregory Properties, LLC, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Mr. President, member of council, this matter was initially filed by the city of Canton in an appropriations action, which is required when the city has to take property for public purpose. Here, the city needed to appropriate some property at Gregory Industries in order to replace a bridge over the Nimishillen Creek on 15th Street Southwest. The property was a commercial site with two entrances that the business used for ingress and egress with its trucks. When we did initial appraisals on this property, we did not believe the internal security, meaning the impact on the internal travel operations of the business, would be a factor in determining compensation. Thus, our appraisal values were very low. But Gregory Industries were required to reroute the directions of its trucks. So the way that worked is the bridge was here. They had an exit here. They would come in and go out this exit. We had to block this exit. There were certain issues that arose that were out of our control. This happened around the time of COVID. We had a delay in receiving steel. Also, the NIM has these mollusks, and we were which are like clams, I suppose. It was breeding season, so we were required to wait a certain amount of time. We also had to we had to wait on the electrical, water, and sewer to be placed. As a result of this, the Gregory Industry, instead of being able to come in and come out this way, had to reroute their trucks. That is basically what happened. We have asked that you approve a settlement for $90,000. Their initial demand was $150,000 after 4 rounds of trying to mediate the case. If the case were to go to trial, their demand of $150,000 would be in excess of that by quite a large amount. Therefore, we're asking that we be able to settle this case for $90,000. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Hearing none, we'll sign this one out. That concludes finance at 7:34. Do annexation?
Okay. Oh, yeah. 7:34. We call annexation to order. It is an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the director of public service to enter into an annexation agreement with the Board of Trustees of Canton Township, Stark County, Ohio, to enter into any additional agreements or agreements amended necessary to facilitate the foregoing annexation agreement, to enter into a roadway maintenance agreement, terminates all previous community economic development agreements, mutual economic development agreements, etc. the city had previously entered into with Canton Township, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Madam Chair, members of council, what you have before you is similar to an agreement that council approved with Plain Township, but it is a little bit different. But I want to stress this, that just like with Plain, and I want to thank, the Canton Township trustees that are here tonight and Chris Nichols, that this agreement can truly help both communities grow, and just similar to Plain. So what this agreement agrees to, and Canton Township had already previously at their trustees meeting agreed out to this agreement on August 4th, that the township agrees not to object to annexation of non-residential properties. That right there is the key I think for all of us, that the township keeps their identity, keeps their autonomy, but also keeps all their real-time property taxes, which it also goes on to say the city agrees not to require annexation of residential properties defined as 3 units or below. It goes on to also say annexations will be done using the ORC 709.023, that the land will not be excluded from the township, and the township retains all of its real-time property taxes, which is critical. On future annexations, now obviously this is going to be a little bit different from Plain. On future annexations, the township will receive 0.75%, and the city would receive, bear with me for a minute, 1.75. There are two sites, which are the Central Avenue and Millerton sites, that we had agreed to give the township 1% on those two sites for development. But I think the biggest thing is for us is, and I got to give a huge shout out to Mark Schaefer. I really believe that this agreement really truly does benefit both communities moving forward. That basically there's a lot of threats out there with specifically the elimination of property taxes, which I disagree with that, because even though we survive on income tax, if they would ever do that, our park levy would be devastating. That means it would probably be a $6 to $7 million hit to our general fund. And even though this is a little bit different from Plain, I really think this agreement does benefit both communities moving forward. This is a 25-year agreement, similar, the same as Plain Township. And I'd be open to any questions, but I think this is a monumental thing. It's a long time coming to help both of our communities grow.
Are there any questions or concerns? Okay. Hearing none, we'll sign this out at 7:38. This concludes Annexation Committee.
All right, 7:38, this is Personnel Committee. This here is an ordinance authorizing the starting annual salary of $115,000 for Todd Shreve for the position of Assistant Superintendent of the Collection Systems Department, granting Mr. Shreve 3 weeks of vacation upon hire and a transfer of 1,200 sick leave hours from his previous position, and declaring the same to be an emergency.
Mr. Chairman, members of
Mr.
council, thank you very much. This position, the Assistant Superintendent of Collection Systems, has been vacant for almost 3 years. Folks might recall it was previously held by Doug Harris, actually the only person to ever hold the position. And then Doug made the decision to move over into a vacant position in the engineering department. So I think, as everyone knows, we've tried to do a really good job of making sure we have a succession plan and we have a clear number 2 in place for all of our departments. We have really strong department heads, but they aren't all going to obviously be working here forever. I would like to think that Mr. DiMarzio would be, but at some point we have to start to plan for his eventual retirement and departure. And give ourselves time to do that. So we posted this several times without success. And fortunately this time we have been successful. We have a fantastic candidate. Mr. Shreve will be coming to us from the city of Barberton. He is actually currently the Director of Public Service there. He has decided he's no longer interested in being the Director of Public Service. I can relate to his sentiment. It's a joke. But anyway, essentially, his background, though, before he served in the service director role, was a utility superintendent. He's worked in both the water and the wastewater fields. That makes him unique. He holds a Class 2 license in both water and wastewater collections and distribution. And essentially, he's looking to kind of move back into the utility role. So in terms of a fit for a position, it really couldn't be better. He also has previously worked with some of the folks we have on staff here who know him personally, and everyone just speaks glowingly of him. In terms of the salary, vacation, and sick time, this is very, very similar to the ordinance council passed a couple months ago for managerial position in the water reclamation facility. So asking for first reading passage, obviously, because once we announce kind of the candidate and folks want to know who it is before they pass an ordinance, which makes sense. Of course, now he then needs to give Barberton notice immediately. So asking for first reading passage, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, we'll sign that out. It's 7:41.
Council is now reconvening after recess. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we suspend Rule 22A to add ordinances 20, 21, and 22 back to this evening's agenda.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to suspend 22A to place ordinances 20, 21, and 22 back on this evening's agenda. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Merrill,
Aye.
Babcock,
Aye.
Smuffler,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough,
Aye.
Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks, Sacco. 11 yeas, Mr. President.
Motion carries and ordinances 20, 21, 22 are now a legal part of the agenda. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we suspend statutory rules on ordinances 20, 21, and 22.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to suspend statutory rules on ordinances 20, 21, and 22. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Merrill,
Aye.
Babcock,
Aye.
Smuffler, Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough, Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks, Sacco. 11 yeas, Mr. President.
Motion carries. And ordinances 20, the motion carries and you've heard all three readings. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 20.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 20. Are there any remarks to this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Merrill,
Aye.
Babcock,
Aye.
Smuffler,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough,
Aye.
Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks, Sacco. 11 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance 20 has now been adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 21.
Second. Been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 21. Are there any remarks?
Mr. President, I just want to give one more shout out to you guys and the cooperation and how quickly we were able to make this happen. And I just got to give you another shout out, but just looking forward to working with you guys. So, thank you.
Any other comments, remarks?
Mr. President,
Leader?
just to piggyback on what the mayor said, Chris, Keith, Mark, thank you so much for coming. This has been a great process working through this. Occasionally you get lucky and find a true win-win where both sides walk out much better than they did walking in. And this agreement does that. As the mayor said, it ensures that in exchange for water service from the city, the residents in units under 3, they will not have to annex into the city. But it also means that economic development can grow and we can attract more businesses. And in doing so, both communities benefit. So that's good for Canton, it's good for Canton Township, it's good for Stark County. It's going to mean more jobs. And I think it speaks to, similar to what we said with Plain, there's a special relationship between the city of Canton and Plain, and there's also a very special relationship between Canton Township and the city of Canton. And we look forward to many years of mutually beneficial development. Thank you.
Merrill,
Aye.
Babcock,
Aye.
Smuffler,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough,
Aye.
Scaglione,
Aye.
Fisher, Smith, Cooks, Sacco. 11 yeas, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The motion carries. Ordinance 21 has been adopted. Leader?
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 22.
Second. Been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 22. Are there any remarks to this ordinance? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Merrill,
Aye.
Babcock,
Aye.
Smuffler, Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough,
Aye.
Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks, Sacco. 11 yeas, Mr.
The
President.
motion carries and ordinance 22 has been adopted. We are now on ordinances and formal resolutions for their second reading. Madam Clerk, would you please begin with ordinance 23?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to convey city-owned real property no longer needed for municipal purposes to the Canton Community Improvement Corporation and declaring the same to be an emergency. Number 24, an ordinance authorizing the editing and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of Canton, Ohio, and declaring the same to be an emergency. Number 25, a resolution authorizing the law director to distribute free of charge to public officials and public institutions copies of the May 2026 supplement to the Canton codified ordinances to a fixed price for the sale of same and declaring the same to be an emergency. Number 26, an ordinance authorizing the mayor, director of public service, or their designee to establish the fair market value of real property, enter into agreements for the purchase, acquisition of these parcels, enter into agreements for the sale or donation of city-owned property for permanent road right-of-way, utility easements and or temporary construction easements for the Navarre Road Southwest Trunk Sewer GP 1491 project. Make ministerial changes to correct property owner names, parcel numbers, and other numerical, descriptive, or typographical errors should they occur. Declaring the intent to appropriate the parcels if a negotiated settlement cannot be reached, and declaring the same to be an emergency. Number 27, an ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to enter into change order number 1 final with Winger Excavating, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $145,396.26 for the Harder Heights area water main replacement and roadway improvements project, Phase 1. Authorizing the auditor to pay all moral obligations related to this change order, amending appropriation ordinance number 51/2026, and declaring the same to be an emergency. Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are now on ordinances and formal resolutions for the third final reading and vote. Madam Clerk, please begin with ordinance number 28.
An ordinance amending sections 1304.02, plans, examinations, 1304.03, permit costs, and 1304.04, permit inspections of chapter 1304, fees, plan examinations, permit applications, and inspection, and amending section 1312.04, requirements for general construction contractors, registration of chapter 1312, general construction of the building code of Canton codified ordinances. Mr. President.
Leader Miriam.
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 28.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 28. Is there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Merrill,
Abstain.
Babcock,
Aye.
Smucker, Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough, Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks, Sacco. 10 yeas, 1 abstention, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The motion carries and ordinance 28 is adopted. Ordinance 29, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to transfer Stark County parcel number 280210 to the Stark County Port Authority for subsequent transfer to Habitat for Humanity of East Central Ohio for the construction of single-family houses. Enter into contract with Habitat for the partial funding of the single-family homes in an amount not to exceed $550,000, utilizing comprehensive plan funds to be split between budget years 2026 and 2027, and to enter into any contracts necessary to complete this project. Amending appropriation ordinance number 51/2026 authorizes the auditor to take all moral obligations related to this project and declaring the same to be an emergency. Mr. President.
Leader Miriam.
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 29.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 29. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Merrill,
Aye.
Babcock, Smucker, Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough,
Aye.
Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks,
Aye.
Sacco. 11 yeas, Mr. President.
Motion carries and ordinance 29 is adopted. Ordinance 30, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor, director of public service, or any other necessary city officials to enter into all contracts necessary for the exchange of real estate depicted on Exhibit A pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 3313.40, and to enter into joint facility use agreements and or joint facility use agreement amendments with the Board of Education of the Canton City School District for said property. authorizing the appropriate officials to take any steps necessary to vacate 17th Street Northwest between Clarendon Avenue and Harrison Avenue, pending Planning Commission approval, retaining any necessary easements, and declaring the same to be an emergency. Mr. President.
Leader Mario.
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 30.
Second. Been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 30. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Merrill,
Aye.
Babcock,
Aye.
Smucker, Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough,
Aye.
Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks, Sacco. 11 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance 30 is adopted. Ordinance 31, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor or director of public service to enter into a change order with RMI Cement LLC in an amount not to exceed $58,377.45 for the Fulton Road Northwest Sidewalk Replacement Project, GP 1456. Authorizing the auditor to pay all moral obligations related to this change order, retroactively authorizing all actions taken in relation to its completion and declaring the same to be an emergency. Mr. President.
Leader Marion.
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 31.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance 31. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Merrill,
Aye.
Babcock,
Aye.
Smucker, Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough, Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks, Sacco. 11 yeas, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The motion carries. Ordinance 31 is adopted. Ordinance 32, please.
A resolution designating public monies available for active and interim deposits and designating depository banks for said deposits and declaring the same to be an emergency. Mr. President.
Leader Mario.
Mr. President, I move we adopt ordinance number 32.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to adopt ordinance number 32. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Merrill,
Aye.
Babcock,
Aye.
Smucker,
Aye.
Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough, Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks, Sacco. 11 yeas, Mr. President.
The motion carries and ordinance 32 is adopted. We are now under announcements of committee meetings for our next meeting date, which is August 24th, 2026, and the committee meetings will start at 6:45 p.m. Finance Committee Chairman Fadwell.
Finance will meet August 24th at 6:45.
Public Safety and Thoroughfares Committee, Aaron Maley.
Public Safety and Thoroughfares will meet same place, same time.
We are now under city announcements. I'm going to ask the council members hold their announcements until after miscellaneous business. Mayor Scheer, are there any announcements?
Mr. President, the only announcement I have, I would like to have if we could have a moment of silence for the two residents that passed away this weekend, over the weekend, Katrina Spells and Courtney Yeager. If we can please have a moment of silence for them and their families right now. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, we are now under miscellaneous business. Is there any miscellaneous? Hearing none. Leader Mario.
Mr. President, I move we adjourn.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Merrill,
Aye.
Babcock, Smucker, Cole,
Aye.
Maley,
Aye.
Kimbrough, Scaglione,
Aye.
Smith, Fisher, Cooks, Sacco. 11 yeas, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are adjourned.